Welcome to the Bat Pod, a Batman comic book discussion podcast. On today's show, we're going to be discussing Batman #2.
This is the Bat Pod.
Grab your bat microphone, it's time to start the show. Like a quart of owls, the mystery is starting to grow. Let there be no debate, it's about to begin. Keen like Bruce Wayne, quick like Tim Drake, fierce like Damien. Grab your headphones, listen up, you know you love it. Drop the facade. Like the Dark Knight detective, they've got some perspective. They're a pure crime-fighting collective. It's the Bat Pod.
Welcome to this edition of Gotham Currents. My name is Bill Bere, and joining me tonight, half of the dynamic duo of the Bat Pod, J. David Weeder.
Just like old times, except we're reading new books.
Yes.
You've conned me into reading a current comic book title, so...
How did I do that?
It's the magic of Matt Fraction and Jorge Jimenez, if I'm being honest.
Ah, yes. So, we're talking about our newly released Batman #2. If you'd like to join the conversation or email is the podcast at thebatpod.com. We are on Blue Sky, X, and Facebook. Just search the Bat Pod podcast. If you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, please consider giving us a review. We'd really appreciate it. So let's go ahead and head to our book.
The Bat Pod is a spoiler podcast. Please read the comics we're reviewing so you can enjoy the show.
The Outcasters starts a bold new direction by covering Avengers Under Siege with Earth's mightiest podcasters. Outcasters Under Siege, coming in 2026, only on the Right On Network.
Yep, and as you mentioned, and no surprise, it's Batman #2, recently released, with a cover by Jorge Jimenez. Batman and the Tim Drake Robin are on top of a tower with this sort of fisheye lens, and Gotham is shining below them. You've already said, I think you've implied that you like this title, or you like this cover.
Oh, I like this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the blue and the red really pops in this cover.
And I like that the perspective, and he used this a little bit in last issue, where it's like when you see people putting cameras on their helmets, like GoPros, and they're jumping out of planes and stuff, which is not for me, but that's what this feels like. It's like a drone camera, and Gotham is down there just shining brightly. It's a phenomenal cover. It
is. Or maybe you're in a skyscraper or something, and you open up a window and look out, and they turn around and look at you.
You just made me think of Batman 66, like Telly Savalas looks out and that's what he sees. Who loves you, baby? So our story, though, is entitled Robin Rides the Black Mariah. So, Bill, do you know what a Black Mariah is?
I think you're going to tell me.
Yep. I had to look it up. It is basically a paddy wagon or some sort of police transport, which that title is right on the nose. Spoilers. Our story is written by Matt Fraction with art by the aforementioned Jorge Jimenez, colors by Tamu Mori, and letters by Clayton Cowles with Jorge Jimenez. After a flashback of Tim Drake learning to drive a standard transmission, he's sad that the car is an old pickup and not the Batmobile, we come back to the present and learn what led to last issue's cliffhanger. As Robin, he stops some hijackers from stealing from a truck, only to learn that what they were stealing was baby formula. A pair of GCPD officers arrive, and Robin makes a call to his mentor for help because they're got him in his sights. The police officers shoot one of the thieves, killing him, and Robin is also shot, and the injured boy wonder ends up in the back of a paddy wagon with some hardened criminals. We see some flashbacks of Tim failing to learn how to drive the standard transmission, and a patient but frustrated Bruce advising him that he can do this, he needs to get out of his own head. Back in the present, the driver of the paddy wagon makes sure the ride is rough as Robin battles the uncuffed prisoner while working on his own shackles. The Dark Knight arrives and stops the vehicle, finding an unshackled Robin in the back sitting atop a pile of unconscious criminals. But the officers approach the dynamic duo and a standoff ensues, with one cop intent on taking in the Caped Crusaders and the other insisting that they're all on the same side. The cops shoot at one another, with Batman and Robin trying to stave off the damage, but in the end, both cops lay on the ground. But one shoots Batman in the head with a shotgun. The armor absorbs most of the damage, but Batman is injured and needs medical attention. This leaves Robin to drive the 13-gear standard Batmobile. But the issue ends with Police Commissioner Vandal Savage seizing the opportunity and framing Batman for injuring one of the officers and killing the other, so Batman and Robin are now enemies of the Gotham City Police Department. So, Bill, we've not discussed this beforehand at all. What'd you think of this issue?
I really enjoyed this. We knew we were getting a Robin because we sort of got a cliffhanger last issue, and we knew it was Tim Drake Robin because they told us who it was.
Mm-hmm.
I love the new costume, or this version of a costume we talk about based on. It looks like it's based on a 1 year later version of Robin's costume. But there are a lot of things in this book that I really enjoy. The artwork is one of them. I mean, it's just some incredible panels in here that really look great. And the writing isn't bad either.
Yeah. I wanted to message you and gush. I really enjoyed this issue. I think I enjoyed this issue more than the first issue. But it's a Tim Drake spotlight, so I'm already biased.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's some things in here that we really have not seen.
Mm-mm.
And as we jump in here, we start with this flashback. And we open up the first page and we see Damian washing the Batmobile. But it's not just any Batmobile. It's Batman from 89.
Yes, it is. Beautiful Batmobile.
Oh, yes. That was incredible. We really get here, Bruce is teaching Tim how to drive. And he's thinking, I'm going to drive the Batmobile sort of thing. And he reveals that it's this old pickup truck that looks like it's been sitting in the corner for a while, covered up.
Yeah, very much not a billionaire Playboy vehicle.
No, not at all. We see Bruce being a parent.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't really see that too much that I've recalled. This in here, the few flashbacks we get with him trying to drive, it shows him being a parent, which I really love. And he's not much of a disciplinarian as a parent because Damian's a little pest.
Yeah, he is.
And he doesn't say anything to him. He should be grounding him, putting him in the corner or something, because he's a little jerk.
He's probably already grounded. That's why he's washing the Batmobile.
Right.
Well, you mentioned the parenting thing, though. And maybe you've heard this growing up, but one of the things my driving instructor, of all people, said is if your parents loved you, they're going to get you an old, beat-up tank of a car, so you learn how to drive on it, you're safe, and Bruce did exactly that. It's such a subtle bit, but it took me back to high school.
That's what's fun about this, and it's a stick. So later in the book, we'll delve into that a little bit, because so much fun.
If anybody's ever learned to drive a stick shift, you understand the pain.
Oh, of course, because, the stick shifts that I tried to learn to drive, I wasn't successful, are different than the stick shifts they have today.
Mm-hmm. Massively, yeah.
I mean, today, I borrowed my brother's vehicle for a while, and it tells you when to shift. And the shifting is so smooth.
It wasn't like that when I was a teenager or a young adult. I can tell you that for sure.
No, not at all. Not at all. So the other thing that we get here, we get the cliffhanger from the previous issue. We actually see what leads up to Robin calling Batman in and says he needs help. And it's a crime here in Gotham where they're going to rob this box truck, which is kind of interesting. And you see Robin coming in, and I like this scene a lot. And it's like, the police come on the scene, and the police under Commissioner Savage, they are quite different because they want to be, it's almost seems like they're more aggressive with everybody, with the criminals, with the vigilantes, with everybody, because he basically shot a couple of those criminals right in the back.
Yeah. He shoots a guy that was stealing baby formula for his baby, which was a twist I wasn't expecting.
No, I wasn't expecting that either. The other thing we get, we got last issue, every time Batman used a gadget, it popped up and it kind of explained what it was and that sort of thing. And we get that here. One of the things that kind of made me think, and then I was thinking, maybe I'm thinking too much about this, is when we saw the Bat boots.
Yeah.
It says electromagnetic grip assist, and it looks like it has little, I guess it's just magnetic on the toe, but it has Robin jumping up a building.
It's a bit much, but it's still beautiful to look at, is what I will say.
Right, it is beautiful to look at. It made me think, it's like, could he really do that? But I gotta be careful, because we're talking about comics here.
Well, I immediately thought, well, Dick Grayson could do it.
Okay. You're probably right. It just made me think of, how could he do that? But, sometimes we get into our head a little bit and that sort of thing. And speaking of, getting into your head, Bruce has got another flashback here, and he's talking to Tim, and it's like they've had a frustrating day. He has an interesting conversation, and he brings it up like this. He says, we need to have a conversation between me, you, and the truck. Shift into first. You're shaking hands. Then ease off the clutch. And then Damian comes in and interrupts. But I think that was pretty cool.
Yes, and there's a sudden stop that throws him off the hood. So
yeah, that was pretty funny. And Damian's the little jerk. It's like the little kid jerk that would annoy me so much why he was Robin.
I just realized that Alfred saying, "Oh, excellent, Master Bruce. Well done." to Damian getting thrown off the hood. That's what you get. He's not hurt, just to be clear, for those that are wondering.
So when we jump back into the now, Tim has been taken by the police. He was shot by the police and cuffed, and he's thrown back in this paddy wagon, as you were saying. And we got all these criminals back here, and they're all not handcuffed. Mm-hmm. Robin's the only one that's handcuffed, and they sent him back in there, hoping that they hoping they beat him up real bad or more.
Yeah,
it seems. And to top it off, they're even going to, rough them up back there by driving the vehicle and kind of rocking it back and forth, so they're roughing it up. But it's a pretty cool fight scene with Tim taking out most of these guys.
Yep, with his hands, I was about to say tied behind his back. So one thing I want to ask if your opinion on the that's not a splash, but it's a large panel where we're looking at the criminals. On the right-hand side is a guy with it's a hoodie and it's a tracksuit with skeleton bones painted on it, and he's got a skull. Is that a reference to the Arkham games when you go into detective mode?
It could be.
If it is, that's a really good touch.
It could be. I didn't think about that. I like that a lot, actually. The only thing that, again, it was hard for me to envision that Tim would break these handcuffs, but they might have got damaged in the fight or something like that.
I'll no prize this. If every chain has a weak link, if you try hard enough, you can likely find it, and that's what it looks like Tim is doing, is testing out the links. And that there's one panel where you see him stretching it across, and you can kind of see the links breaking. So I think that's the only thing I say, is that he found the leak and was able to manipulate it.
That is true. Batman put down some bat spikes, took out the tires, and then there's a cool half-page panel of Batman picking up these bat spikes.
It's such a cool shot. It's so
and his
so
cape
awesome
and everything. And he opens up the door and he says, "Rough night," and he's just sitting there, with his legs crossed, and he says, "Worse for them."
I am not ashamed to say that I actually did applaud that moment out loud.
The two police officers arrive, and they're not exactly on the same page, because the one wants to take them out, and he surprised the other cop. He says, "You're on their side, known criminal vigilantes?" And they're like, the other guys like their side, it's our side. And Batman speaks up and he's like, police brutality and murder puts us on opposite sides.
Hmm.
And they're both standing, in between the two guys. One has a shotgun aimed at Batman. One has a gun aimed at the other officer. And then the guns go off. And Batman does try to shield the one officer a little bit from the shotgun. But they both get shot. But there's a cool scene here with Tim as he takes the one gun and he dismantles it.
Flawlessly, too. That was so boss. Tim owns this issue.
That was great. I like that a lot.
You think this is basically what Gordon's speech was at the end of Batman Begins? Escalation? Sort of what effect does a vigilante like Batman have on a city or on a police force? Because it's just, I mean, maybe these guys were already brutal, but...
And it's something to think about, yeah. I mean, how many good cops are there actually in Gotham?
Mm-hmm.
And the way that the commissioner is, and as you see him in this book, he just ramps it up like 10 times, basically. But Gordon's been gone for a little bit in current times. He hasn't been the commissioner in a while. And he was one of those commissioners that seems like that would keep the bad guys, in check. But, of course, that's always hard to do.
Yeah, because how big is the Gotham City Police Force? It's got to be huge.
Right, it would have to be huge, yes. And no Bullock.
And no Montoya.
Right, it's not like they have inside guys trying to keep an eye on everything. So Batman gets nailed in the back of the head with this shotgun by the one guy before he passes out.
And thankfully, I'm looking at it. I mean, it's a graze and he has armor, but that's still got to hurt.
Yeah, I think he has a slight concussion. And jumping back to this flashback, I did think it was pretty funny. Tim was thinking about driving the Batmo. He keeps calling it the Batmo. Bruce is not a fan of that.
No, and nor am I. We don't need to shorten Batmobile.
And he says, don't call it Batmo. Nobody calls it that. And he says, nobody calls it that yet. It's just a great scene with him and Tim in these flashbacks. He gets Batman to the Batmobile after he patches up the one officer who got shot in the side. He gets him to the Batmobile, and all this flashback about Tim learning to drive and that sort of thing. It kind of builds up to Tim driving the Batmobile, which seems like maybe you don't see him drive the Batmobile that much. And I don't know what his age is in here compared to the flashback. I want to think he's like closer to like 19 or 20.
Right in there is what I expect, yeah.
Yeah. So, and this is kind of a sleek-looking Batmobile. I want to say it's more like a Batmobile from the Batman movie that we had recently, sort of like that.
But it's streamlined.
Yes, it is streamlined a little bit.
It has 13 gears.
Yes, he gets in here and he's like, how many gears did this thing? And Batman's, he's hurting, bleeding from the mouth, and he says, 13. And you see them. You see all these gears. And he says, and then Tim kind of goes off a little bit. He says, what the heck do you need 13 gears for? And he's like, don't yell. He says, it's got the standard 9, 3 quantum gears for use during
spatiotemporal crisis events.
Then there's a secret gear. 13. Okay, what is the secret gear? And Tim even says, secret gear? What does that even mean? I don't know what it means.
But I want to know.
Knight Rider and the turbo boost, is that what that secret gear?
Yeah, but you can only use it once per episode.
Right. After he says secret gear, what does that even mean? Bruce says, it means I have the coolest car in the world. Now drive it. But that was a great scene, and a full page panel of him driving through the city.
That's a nice shot as well. I mean, I think you nailed it, Knight Rider. It feels like if you took the Robert Pattinson Batmobile and made it more Knight Rider, you have this Batmobile.
Yeah, I agree. It's very cool. And we do get a couple news feeds here that talks about the officer shooting. Commissioner Savage is arriving on the scene, and we see him arrive on the scene. And a couple things happen here. You know, the one officer is dead, obviously, as they have him covered over. And he says to one of the cops, and that isn't even one of the cops, is it? That's one of his special police force.
Yes.
And did you notice Gordon lifting the police line for the commissioner?
I hadn't until you point that out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Gordon. I didn't think he showed up in this issue. And then, but he tells one of his, it looks like armored goons, because you can't really see that guy's face. And he has like this headgear around.
Oh, he looks like one of the troops from G.I. Joe. The robot troops.
Yes. And he says, remove the reporters, break their cameras and jaws. Okay, we're going into a different territory here with the Gotham City Police Force. They're not just trying to take Batman down. They're injuring reporters.
To suppress it, yeah.
It's like a mandate.
I'm looking in the background of one scene, and you see one of the troops actually doing just that.
And then, you know, they have that final scene where he's standing up there, police headquarters, and he's announcing for the cameras.
It's like a press con. I don't know if the cameras are even there. He's talking to the...
I don't know if there are cameras there or not, or it's just a meeting with all the police.
I think it's a briefing, yeah, a police briefing.
He basically said, what you might not know who is responsible for this shameless, cowardly attack on our brothers. I know the mayor and your old leadership entertained certain arrangements with regard to amateur law enforcement. But I'm changing the policy. If the mayor disagrees, he can ask one of you to arrest me. Until then, consider these department-wide standing orders. Batman and Robin are now criminal combatants and enemies of Gotham City PD. And he has a little, what I thought was a batarang. But I really think it's a link. The bat spikes. I think it's one of the bat spikes that might have broke off. And it's bloodied. So he kind of dipped it in blood and said, look what they did. They killed some police officers.
Yep, and you actually see him reaching into his jacket. And I didn't think it was one of the spikes, but that actually makes sense.
If you think about it, we have a supervillain that's the commissioner of Gotham that has just ramped up everything times 10 with the Gotham City PD. We have Gordon there. We didn't see much of appearance of Gordon in this, but it's going to be interesting. And the thing that I did learn before we get to this issue is they announced that these were going to be self-contained stories. But they're self-contained stories, but there's connectivity between them. The way that this was connected to the first one, I really enjoyed, and I'm enjoying this theme. I'm kind of interested to see where it goes from here.
Yeah, and I like the idea of a it's a self-contained story, because the X-Files did that, and every now and then they would do what's known as the mythology episodes, where the subplots would come up, but it's working really well for me. I got to be honest.
No, I like it a lot, and I really enjoyed this issue. This, as you said, I might have enjoyed this more than I did the previous issue.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what to expect with Matt Fraction, because he's a great writer, but he doesn't do straightforward superhero stories. If you've ever read his Hawkeye, very much, this is what Hawkeye does in his spare time. So I was a little leery, but he's so far 2 for 2.
Yeah, I have to agree. I enjoyed this a lot, and I enjoyed what they're doing with Tim here and Batman's relationship. And Tim hasn't, if you really think about it, he really hasn't been in the Bat books very much. I know the new 52, there was like this, I don't know if it was a mandate, but there were no Robins in the Batman book, really.
No, they were almost all in flashback.
Robin was scarce, and when it was a Robin, it was Damian.
Yeah, and Tim was Red Robin. I forgot about that.
So I did like this a lot. This was a lot of fun. And I'm actually looking forward to next issue. He's got me.
Yeah.
He's got me hooked. Now, I don't know if I would say this run feels so different from anything else that's been going on lately that they needed a new number one, only they needed a new number one because they wanted to boost sales or something.
I was thinking of exactly that today. And it made me think of when Brian Michael Bendis came over and they relaunched Superman. Mm-hmm. It was completely unnecessary. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't know that we needed to relaunch it because readers just want good stories and good art at the end of the day.
It didn't change. This is still a Batman that we recognize. This is still a Batman, if you want to say, universe that we recognize. It didn't change so much that it needed a number one. I can understand the New 52 getting a number one because things had vastly changed so much. I wouldn't even call this any type of reboot or anything. It's just a continuation of what we had been getting. But as long as they're doing good stories.
Yeah.
So I would say final thoughts here, but we pretty much have covered what we thought of this.
I think we both love this issue top to bottom with very little complaint.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to head to what we learned.
Come on, Robin. To the Batcave. We haven't one moment to lose.
So, Dave, what did you learn in this episode?
I learned not to leave equipment behind just in case somebody picks it up and frames you.
Exactly. Batman should know better.
Yeah, you definitely should know better.
Yeah, you should have one of his sidekicks, come back around and just pick up all the equipment.
You mean like the Batmobile parachute pickup service from the old Batman TV show?
Right.
Yes.
Right, exactly.
But what did you learn this time around?
So I learned that Bruce, even though he's portrayed in here as being a pretty decent father or fatherly figure for Tim, he has no discipline when it comes to Damian. He just lets him get away with anything. Not even a warning, nothing. He doesn't even say anything. He just ignores him completely.
I think the hope is if he ignores him, he'll go away.
Yeah, that never works. That never works. So this episode turns out is going to be episode 199. Our next episode is going to be episode 200, and we have a treat for you. We're going to have a special guest, and if you've been listening to this show for a while, you may recognize who our guest is, but I'll leave it at that. So before we get out of here, do you have any final thoughts or wisdom?
Yeah, if you're on the phone with tech support and they ask if you tried disabling cookies, do not say you once bit the legs off a gingerbread man. Doesn't mean the same thing. It's a deep cut.
That is a deep cut. So until next time, same bat time, same bat channel. We will see you later.